Hello, Yoga Kula. We're here today to talk about becoming conscious of our algorithms and how we come to balance. I hope you all had a chance to listen to the chapter on denial and how that bargaining, and how that plays out in the forgiveness process, where we make that forgiveness algorithm. If they do this, then I will forgive. And so those if-then statements are algorithms. And number one, that's giving our power away. If you say you can't do anything until they do something. But it's worth noticing those automatic thoughts that are going on, because it gives us a sense of what we're needing and how to set boundaries. So we want to really become conscious of that inner dialogue and the inner bargains that we're making, so that we can live more skillfully and more consciously. So I'd like to show you an algorithm that the body has, to celebrate that and talk about that. We're going to come onto the right side of the body, laying on the arm in the fetal position. And so one of the algorithms in our body is, when you're laying on a side, you breathe out of the top nostril. And it's not right away. It takes a little period of time for it to switch over. But I wanted to talk about that so that it's an algorithm that you can engage consciously for the purpose you want to engage it for. So, according to this article that I found on Eckhart Yoga, which is a lovely YouTube channel if you want to look it up, by Emma Newland, there are 71,000 energy channels in the body. And the central one, of course, is the spine. And in yoga, that's called the Sushumna Nadi. So I'll read you a little bit from that article. It says, running up the length of the spine and all the way to the top of the head, Sushumna Nadi is the main channel of energy, translated as joyful mind or most gracious mind. The name implies that when this energy channel is clear and flowing freely, we benefit from a happier and more uplifted mental and emotional state. So, when we're centered and there are no blockages, we have, what was the word? A gracious mind, most gracious mind. So around that center channel are two channels that intertwine up that central axis, the Ida and the Pingala, and they crisscross until they come to the nostrils and the center of the forehead. So this left nostril has the Ida Nadi, and the left nostril links to the Ida Nadi, connected to feminine energy, coolness, calmness, and the moon. Breathing primarily through the left nostril activates Ida Nadi, a technique known as Chandra Bedana, or moon activating breath. It also activates the parasympathetic, or rest and digest, part of the nervous system. This lowers blood pressure and body temperature, calms stress levels, and reduces anxiety. This way of breathing also sends blood to the right hemisphere of the brain, associated with creative thinking, daydreaming, and emotions. Breathing through the left nostril is helpful to aid sleep and rest before a restorative yoga class, or in times of stress to help bring the nervous system back into balance. And so just notice, are you breathing through the left nostril now? I am. And notice the effects in the mind and in the body. After I read this article again, I realized this is how I sleep. I sleep on my right side, so I'm generally breathing on my left. But just feel the difference that makes to your energy. And that's an algorithm that you may not have been aware of, but now that you are aware of it, when you need to calm down and be creative, you know, lay down on your right side, you'll breathe through your left, or you can even close off the right nostril and breathe through your left that way. Alrighty. Now I'm going to switch to the other side. And laying on the left side so that we can breathe through the right nostril. Pingala Nadi. The right nostril links to Pingala Nadi, related to masculine energy, as you might have guessed, heat, dynamism, and the sun. Breathing primarily through the right nostril activates Pingala Nadi, a method known as Surya Bedana, or sun activating breath. It increases circulation, body temperature, cortisol levels, blood pressure, and heart rate. All these responses show that right nostril breathing impacts the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight side of the nervous system, putting the body into a state of alertness and readiness. This is useful if you need a boost of motivation and energy, or to balance lethargic low states. Breathing through the right nostril also sends more blood to the left side of the brain and prefrontal cortex, associated with logical thinking, decision-making, language, and computing. Right nostril breathing is a great pranayama practice to use before a dynamic yoga class, before exercise, or to encourage a more stimulated and alert state in the morning. So just that little bit of awareness. If you sleep on your right side and you're breathing through your left nostril, and you find it hard to get up in the morning, you can just roll over. Don't have to do big theatrical efforts to get out of bed. Just start breathing through the other nostril, the right nostril, so that you can feel a little more energized. And so we're so used to thinking of cortisol as a bad thing, but cortisol is what wakes you up in the morning. We have our highest levels of cortisol, if everything's right, in the morning, and then it wanes as the day goes on, and it's lowest during the night. So if you want to help turn on that cortisol so that you can wake up, this is a gentle way to do that. And notice what it feels like to be breathing out of the right nostril. And how the mind feels, the emotions, the body. There is a difference. So a lot of times we call these subtle things to become aware of, right? These are not the most obvious things. We have to pause and really take note. And that's kind of the message of this chapter in our forgiveness book as well, that getting some awareness of the subtle things that are going on in us. So you can just stay on your left side, but we're going to stretch out long. So we're holding the head in our left hand and stretching out the legs, so we're like in one long line from elbow to heels. And then I'm going to use the fingertips on the floor to balance. You might notice this is a balance pose. Anantasana means couch pose. Let me make sure my T isn't, I'm not going to kick it. We're going to be moving a little bit, and then just rather than trying to stay in perfect balance, just notice how the body tries to get you back into balance. All those automatic things that fire off. So we're going to inhale, lift the leg a little bit, and exhale it down. Inhale it up, exhale it down. Noticing what the body has to adjust to balance. And then we're going to lift a little higher and lower. See if you You can do that with the breath so that you can stay calm and present so that you can observe. And we're going to swing the leg forward and back. So inhale forward, exhale back. Notice all the counterbalancing that's going on. How much work these fingertips are doing for your left elbow to bring you back into a state of balance. Now we're going to circle this top leg. I'm circling back. Whichever direction you started with is fine. We'll obviously do the other direction. It's all about balance. We have to counterbalance. And other direction. Notice when the breath stops. And in life, notice when you stop and get stuck and make these kind of algorithms that don't serve you, like, if they do this, then I'll do that. And listen to what are those internal demands. Maybe they're not so unreasonable. And then we're going to bend in and out. Might feel like a little relief on the hip. And now for Anantasana. These fingertips have to come off the floor, guys. It's kind of a big deal. So we're going to bend that top knee and draw it in and reach down and reach for that big toe. And then straighten that leg any amount. Maybe the hand can't be on the toe for the leg to go straight. Maybe it's more like this for you. But notice those wobbles. What do we do when we're knocked out of balance? What automatic things go like kick into gear and just step in and start moving us in these automatic patterns? And can we become conscious of those? So we're not hijacked every time something happens. And then bend that knee again. Straighten out long. Then we're going to balance that, because that was so one-sided, with crocodile pose. So we're going to bring the feet out to the edges of the mat so that the big toes are touching the ground and the heels are moving towards the center. And then there's some options for the upper body. So you can have the elbows in front of the shoulders and the forehead on the floor. If you can't breathe with that, then you can bring the head on top of the hands. And if you still are having to get some more space to be able to breathe, then you can hold the face with the hands. But we're just going to rest here in crocodile, very balanced pose. And just feel what it's like to be out of balance and then getting back in balance. So when something happens where we feel wronged, it can feel like we're really far away from our center, right? That this pose is lovely for coming back to your center, because you can feel the breath go into the belly. If you're more prone, you can probably feel the heartbeat against the floor. You're more in that central channel, right? Not to one side or the other. I can even feel it. I'm breathing in both nostrils. Just what conscious things can we add to our life so that when we get knocked off center, we can come back? Like journaling about our forgiveness algorithm bargains. Lovely. I'm going to come on to my right side facing away from you. I'm going to do the same thing. So head is supported with the hand, fingertips on the floor, lower long line. And notice what you need to do with that bottom foot. Does it want to be flexed, point, halfway between point and flex, so that you can feel supported and solid. And then we'll inhale up a little bit and exhale down. Inhale up a little bit and exhale down. You might notice one side is easier to balance than another. Just like in life, sometimes it's so easy to take an insult when it's to you, but when it's about your children, you're really thrown off. Something like that. And the bargains are quite different. And then a little higher. Inhale up and down. Just feeling all those little wobbles, all those automatic adjustments that are coming to support you. So that bargaining stage isn't something we want to throw away, like it's an interruption in something that could have been better. It's part of the process, and it's there to help us. So inhaling forward, exhaling back. Tickling the Schiflera. And then circling. And just noticing what's a challenge, what has ease in it. This circle is really hard for me. The other direction is a little easier. In life, like getting aware. The only part of the Our Father that talks about other people says forgive them. Because the main thing that's going to happen in our interactions with other people is we're going to get hurt and offended. So we need to become a student of what is it that happens in me, and then bending the knee and straightening. What is going on when someone offends me, hurts me, snubs me? What goes on in my thoughts? What goes on in my body? What goes on in my other relationships? Am I taking that out on them? And then, bending that knee, reaching down for the toe. Notice the wobbles. And straighten. Feeling all those muscles engaging to support you, to keep you from falling over. And say, thank you, Jesus, for the bargaining process. How it helps me to get some balance again. And bend and straighten. And we'll come into crocodile again. So, feet wide, heels coming in. And whichever head position worked for you. And just rest in the center place. So our outer life might be out of balance because somebody has done something that throws that balance off. But we always have a center to come back to. We can come back to Jesus, our rock, our port in the storm, the stillness that He gives us in our mind and in our spirit. So we can handle the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And rise up. Wriggling going to come into table. I think I'm going to move this down here. I think I'll try it at this end so I'm not kicking my Shiflora. We're going to be balancing by lifting one leg, and you might want to decide what you do with the toes on the other foot. So when I reach back with my right leg, flat foot on the top of my foot doesn't feel as secure as toes tucked. I wobble a little more when my toes aren't tucked. So if you like that, just get the hands under the shoulders, index fingers pointing straight ahead, fingers all wide, knees under hips, but keep those toes tucked. And we're going to inhale back and exhale. Draw that knee in and round. So this is like our cat-cow, but adding a little bit of a balance challenge. And just feel how all those extra muscles engaging to try and keep us balanced and steady make it a lot harder, right? It's a lot harder work to stay balanced than to fall over. And return that knee to the floor, tuck the toes, and we'll do the other side. So inhale, sweep up. You can go a little higher than the hips since we're doing it like our cat-cow replacer. And down. Now we're going to turn this into bird dog. So again, you might want to tuck the toes. We're going to reach the right foot back and the left arm forward as if shaking a hand. So that palm is facing in, the thumb is up. Find a gaze point for the eyes. Draw in the low belly. Keep the breath steady. And then exhale, round it in. Elbow comes to knee. Inhale, stretch it out. Exhale, round in. Inhale, stretch out. One more time. And down. Woo! I got a new yoga mat. If you noticed, I put some flour on my hands because my hands are slipping on this. We've got a fire burning in the next room. It's a little hot in here. So we'll see how this goes, a balance challenge with a new slippery mat. We're going to reach back with the left foot and the right hand comes out. Spine nice and long. Feeling that center plumb line, the Sushumna channel. That we're moving around that central, most gracious mind. And exhale, round it in. Inhale, reach it out. And one more time. And down. And then, whoops, we have one more. So, tuck the toes if you like that. And we're going to reach back with this right leg and reach around with the left hand and arch. Heart moving forward. Balancing is so hard. But we can still be eyes fixed on Jesus, heart forward, bringing our best selves, and down. Whew. And reach the left leg. I like to just start with it bent because I know I'm going to reach back and grab it with the right hand. And press foot into hand and hand into foot. Heart lifting. Focused on where we're going. Consciously engaging the algorithms we want to live by. And release. And let's just take a little break in child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together, forehead to the floor. If it doesn't reach, you have those same options that you had in crocodile of stacking hands or maybe stacking fists. But if you want to be on the elbows, then put the heels of the hands into the eyes and the fingertips towards the crown so that you can get that drawing inward sort of feeling. Breathing into the back, turning on the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems are like light switches. So if you are in a fight or flight mode because someone has done something to you, you can get in these poses that turn on the parasympathetic nervous system, because the sympathetic nervous system will switch off. They can't both be on at the same time. So breathing into the back of the lungs to calm ourselves down. And rise up. I'm going to switch ends of the mat here and come into down dog. Ooh. I have to put it on my flower handprints. Maybe walk the dog and really let the hips kind of naturally flow in the direction that they want to go. So when the right knee bends, the left hip lifts. And we sway a little bit to the left. Feel the head and the shoulders do that. And then left knee bends, right hip lifts, and we sway. It's that automatic algorithm. If knee bends, then this whole chain of actions kick in to balance us. And can we make those conscious when it comes to forgiveness? We're going to take one footprint step forward, so a little shorter down dog. I'm going to reach my left hand to the outside. Well, that wasn't my left hand, was it? My right hand to the outside of my left shin. And turn. I'm bending my right knee, and I'm bringing my right knee a little more toward the right heel, a little more towards the midline. So it's even a little more asymmetrical. And feel what that does to the left hip. Gazing under the left arm, pulling against that shin. Get a little opening through the shoulder blades there. And just feel how much we have to work when things are asymmetrical, when things are unfair, when somebody did something, they crossed a line. And now we have to do all this counterbalancing. And right hand back, straighten out the right leg. And then reach left hand to the outside of the right ankle. Turn the left heel in, bending the left knee. Gaze under the right arm. And feel the stretch up the outside of the right leg. And feel what it's like to have to balance more on just one hand. A lot of times those hurts and offenses are because somebody took something away that makes our life easier. We couldn't count on them to carry their part of things. And plant the hands. Step the feet back to a long down dog. And just enjoy that feeling of spaciousness for a second. Get a nice breath. More centered, more balanced. And how can we find that centered, balanced place when someone has thrown us off? And can we go to the bargains that our mind is giving us for some suggestions, for some hints about what we need? Then walk the feet to the center of the mat and the hands back. You're going to come into Uttanasana. So see if your feet are hip width apart, toes pointed straight ahead. Grasp the elbows and hang in ragdoll. If you still feel like there's some tightness in your hamstrings and you want to put a slight bend, that's fine. But we're going to play with balance a little bit here. So rock the weight a little forward to the balls of the feet and the toes. Then rock back to the heels. Rock to the left. And rock to the right. Feeling all those micro adjustments that are being made. And go around in a circle. I started with counterclockwise. And the other direction. Feeling all those little muscles starting to engage to help you not fall over on your head. Thank you. Counterbalancing muscles. I didn't have to ask you. You just did what you're supposed to do. And then find that still point in the center. Release the hands down. And we're going to come onto our fingertips, drop the seat, and come into chair pose, Utkatasana. Notice how the low belly is pulling in and the tailbone is curving under to protect the low back. And rise up. So we're going to use Utkatasana in a little flow that gets us into eagle pose, our hardest balance pose that we're going to do. I found this little flow online I thought was pretty nifty, so we're going to try it. So bring that the outer edge of your left foot to the outer edge of the mat and go hip width apart with the feet. And we're going to come into that Utkatasana again. You don't have to go as deep if that's an issue. And then we're going to bring left hand to left hip, right foot back to the right side of the mat, and right arm reaches across. I feel a little like a cheerleader in this pose. So this is a wide lunge or a wide crescent pose. You can even feel the torso kind of turns off to the left. Now we're going to turn this into eagle. So if you already know that eagle is something that your arms can't do, you can bring the forearm of the left arm under this front arm and pull it in to get a little stretch across the chest. Otherwise, this left elbow is going to come on top of the right, and we're going to weave those arms together as this right foot weaves around the left leg. So join me. Whoop. There we go. Eagle pose. We come in, then we go back to that wide high lunge, and then we come into Utkatasana again and stand up. Feel the heat in that left leg. We're going to float a little faster. So inhale up, exhale, hands to the heart, sink into Utkatasana, and whoop, other foot, cross it back, step up into eagle, cross it back, and Utkatasana, and stand up. And feel how that was a little easier the second time. It'll be even easier the third time. So engaging those conscious algorithms, at first it feels awkward because we're having to make a new choice and get out of a rut and carve a new neural pathway in our brain. But eventually that becomes our new, if this happens, then I do this. So let's give it a try again. So inhale up. Exhale, hands to the heart and Utkatasana. Cross that right foot to the back of the mat. Step into eagle. Unwind out of eagle. And Utkatasana again. And up. And that felt so much more graceful in my body that time. We're going to step over to the right side of the mat. So right edge of the foot is at the right edge of the mat, and then hip width apart on that foot, which lands for me about center of the mat. So we'll inhale up and exhale into Utkatasana. And then right hand to hip, left arm and left foot get in their positions, and then cross into eagle. That first one was hard on the other side too. And unwind, Utkatasana, and up. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart, sink the hips. Hand to hip across. And then elbow on top, wind around. Unwind. Knees bend. Rise up. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last time. I was laughing because I was like, cheerleader pose. Can't say that on the inside and pull off your forgiveness algorithm. Wind around for eagle. Our cheerleader pose. And Utkatasana. And rise up. Woo! You need to shake out the legs a bit. Get some heat building, that's for sure. Balancing on one leg. All right. The last thing we're going to do is a flow of sun salutes, S-O-N salutes, where we add little balance challenges along the way. So, inhale up, gaze at the thumbs, exhale, bow, flat back, all the way down. Inhale, come up halfway, maybe hands are on chins or fingertips to the floor. Exhale, right foot goes back, right knee goes down, left hand to front leg. Inhale the right arm up and lean to the left. Little bit of balance there. And exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. So I'm bringing my feet close together because we are going to turn this into side plank. So roll onto the outer edge of the right foot, step the left foot halfway up the mat, and reach the left arm up. We're lifting that bottom hip up, and then exhale. Reach that top arm up and over. The palm is facing back behind you. And sweep it around. Back to plank. Drop the knees. Chest, chin. And inhale. Come through for cobra or up dog. Drop the knees. Tuck the toes. Pull back to down dog for a couple breaths. And next balance challenge. We're going to draw in the right knee as we kind of come halfway up the mat, and then shoot that right leg out to the left, flatten that left foot so we have some support, and reach up with the left arm. Fallen triangle. I've heard this called rock star too. Can we be rock stars when we're out of balance? And come back to down dog. Up on the toes, bend the knees, step the right foot forward, left knee down, right hand on front thigh, left arm reaches up, and then over. Sweep it down on fingertips, pop the back knee, step in. This is our up halfway. Exhale, bow, and inhale, sweep up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Ah. And now we'll do that same thing, leading with the left. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, reach back with the left leg. Knee down. Reach up and over with the left arm. Hands plant. Step back. Plank. So feet are close to each other, so we can just tip onto the outer edge of the left foot, step the right foot halfway up the mat, reach up, heart is turning up, and then exhale, reach up and over the right ear, sweep it around, back to plank, drop knees, chest, chin, and squiggle through, and come up, knees drop, toes tuck, and rest in down dog. You might notice you're really digging into the breath as we're working really hard to balance, building some heat. Does that heat always have to turn into anger and rage? Can it be just power to hold our own intentions and not live in a reaction to what other people are doing? And then bend that left knee, draw it in towards the chest, and shoot it out to the right. Flatten that right foot and reach the right arm. And hands down, feet back in, down dog position. Tap on the toes, bend the knee, left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale the right arm up and over to the left. Sweep it forward for up halfway. Bow. Inhale, sweep up. And hands together at the heart. And we're going to do that one more time each side. And just feel how much easier it is to flow now that you know what you're doing. Those conscious algorithms, right? Inhale up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, right foot back, right knee down. Right arm up and over. Plant the hands, step back into plank with the feet together. And this time, if you'd like to try it, you can roll and just stack the feet. Maybe reaching up with the left arm, maybe reaching over. Definitely a balance challenge. And back to plank. Lower knees, chest, chin, coming through. Knees down, tuck toes, pull back. on the balls of the feet. Right knee comes towards the chest. Pivot, slide the feet away from each other. Reach the left arm up like, Jesus, help. I've been wronged and I don't know what to do. And back to down dog. Lap on the toes, bend the knees, right foot forward, left knee down. Sweep up and over. Fingertips to the floor, pop the back knee, step in. Up halfway, exhale, bow. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale, hands to the heart. It's starting to feel really good. We're almost at the end of class, so this is a good time to be feeling good. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, left foot back first. Left knee down. Left arm up and over. Plant the hands. Step back to plank with the feet together. Rock to the left outer edge of the foot. It helps if that hand is not directly under the shoulder, if it's a little forward for balance. Maybe reaching up and over. Plant it. Knees, chest in. Coming through. Inhale, drop the knees, tuck the toes, pull back. Then drawing the left knee in, shoot it off to the right. I'm glad that foot's off the mat. It makes it easier to slide. And then back to down dog. Up on the toes, bend the knees. Left foot forward, right knee down. Sweep the right arm up and over. Fingertips down, pop the back knees, step in, bow. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale, hands to the heart. So we have something a little different today. We're going to end in meditation. So I'll get my thing over here. We'll do a couple little cool down things. We'll come onto the back, hug the knees into the chest and rock from side to side. Feeling that central channel goes up through the spine. We get to that most gracious mind by staying centered. Circle the knees in one direction and then the other. And then knees go wide, arch the low back. Knees come in to the chest, open, arch, in, and other direction. Then soles of the feet to the floor. Cross the right ankle across the top of the left thigh. Flex the foot. Hold on to that right ankle and let that fall off to the left and reach out to the right or reach up. It's nice to go vertical instead of horizontal sometimes, right? And then center the head. Hoist those legs back up and bring the left ankle to the top of the right thigh. Grasp that ankle, fall off to the right with the legs, reach up and out with the left arm, turning the gaze to the left. And center the head and hug the knees into the chest and rock up. we'll get ready for our meditation. So come into any comfortable seated position that you enjoy. And I will show you what I've been doing the past few mornings that I am just loving. This is a 7-minute meditation, and it uses the Vayu Mudra. So the Vayu Mudra is for wind. And I'm a Vata type, which means I'm very airy. I'm up in my head, lots of ideas. Things are always swirling. And this is very good for me. But so if there's 71 energy channels in the body, 51 of those are wind channels, and this helps balance that. So this is the mudra. The index finger goes down to this meaty part at the base of the thumb, and then the thumb hooks over. It's not a super straining kind of thing. It's just a touch and a hook, very gently. And then these 3 fingers are straight-ish. So tuck that down, the thumb tucks over, and you can feel the tip of the index touching onto the thumb and the thumb touching onto, there's like knuckles, right? So between the first and second knuckle here, you don't have to strain and make it harder than it is. So I'm going to be walking you through the visualization I do with this. So I want you to emphasize your exhales and see the contents of that exhale kind of as smoggy, sooty, dirty air. Okay, we're breathing out this old yuck that's been stuck inside of us. Like when I see it, it's like the smoke coming off of a fire. It has bits of ashes in it. And when that kind of yucky cloud is released, it joins this storm that's going on around you. Like all the circumstances and chaos of what should we do? And we're just breathing out all that inner chaos out into this storm, and it's joining it. Being a little bit pushy and forceful with my exhale so that I feel really emptied out. Now I want you to start repeating to yourself the mantra Jesus and emphasizing a very calm and small inhale. And this small calm breath is like a breeze, a very gentle breeze. And it starts to blow the storm away from you. It's blowing further and further until it's out over the sea. And then it goes down into the sea. So just keep repeating Jesus or Yesu, that fits better with your breath. Seeing this clear, calm breeze pushing all the chaos away. And that storm disappearing from view, absorbed into the ocean that remains calm and tranquil despite that storm entering it, neutralizing it. Small inhale and exhale. And now keep saying Jesus, but picture yourself sitting at his feet, maybe leaning against his knee, like the Gerasene demoniac, clothed and in your right mind. Centered, calm. Feeling his presence just fill you with peace and calm and stillness. Your ability to act wisely, to say the right thing, to not lose your center because other people have done whatever they've done. You can deepen the breath. Hoped you liked those few minutes of sitting with Jesus. Inhale the arms up overhead and palms come together at the heart. Jesus, thank you that no matter what storm is going on around us, no matter how thrown off we are, that we can come to you and find that still place where we have balance. And Lord, help us to listen to that inner dialogue that we have that's maybe giving us hints and clues about what we need. And help us to lift those up to you for your creative solution. Maybe you'll give us exactly that thing, but not from that person, from someone else or from you. And so, Lord, help us to be open-hearted about how that will be solved so that we can have peace in the process. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed figuring out what your algorithms are and coming up with some algorithms you'd like to live by. I'm sorry I can't be with you, but I hope this week has been beneficial. God bless.